Hey, Ty.
Hey guys, just got.
We got we're using that Twitter hashtag bring Egon to Legion. So I don't know if you fucks with Twitter, but tweet that at them. I think that if you do,
Okay, I will.
or like our forum post or whatever on the Fenris forum. That's pretty much all you do.
Yeah, I guess we're supposed to go into this with something prepared, but you know things happening, and this is kind of hard to sit down and think and write about. We've done a bunch of posts in several places trying to encapsulate who Egon was, why he was important to the community, send it to the devs as many times as possible. So I'm running low on eloquence, and for the most part, all of us here who knew Egon, you know how hard it is to describe, you know, how he was, like uh, what made him great. But the right words are in those posts somewhere, and for the most part, it's kind of carrying his spirit on. The weird late night generosity, the jokes, the tenacity, the drive to help. That's one of the main things about him. Like every time he was theory crafting something, every time he was pushing for gear, like, why are you going so far with this? Why are you spending gold cap and a half just for a quick run, or just for like one run through mythic? And the answer is always, I want to get my character geared, I want to help out my friends, I want to help my group. If I'm pushing to you know I'm pushing so that we can get farther. And that's kind of the attitude that always pushed him forward. So I don't know. I'm not really going anywhere particularly with this. Just it's I can't stand the idea of going forward in WoW and not carrying on some part of Egon. Whether it's the generosity, whether it's helping out your friends, whether it's giving out the best advice you can with your class, or just pushing like crazy for your raid team. Push for whatever it is you like.
At the end of the day, this guild has always been and always will be a family. Whether you're new and haven't, felt exactly the same way we do, but, as long as you're here long enough, you'll find that this is a family to us. We care. We we banded together, and we're banding together now. That's why, we're all here to remember Egon and remember, what a great person he was, because we feel the loss deeply. And that's why Theo, his brother, was, so moved by the fact that we felt it too. To show the world that there really is something to these by chance online meetings and these strange connections we form through, killing internet dragons. We really do build a network around us, and it leaves behind people who will carry on his memory forever. There's things I will never forget about Egon. I will never forget the way he calls out for stats. It's become a complete guild tradition. If anyone ever wonders where the stat thing comes from, it's from Egon and the pop pots. And also just remembering for the people on weekend that time he killed us with that amazing altar time. Him and his altar time was just a force to be reckoned with. But what I really love is that he really did try to make everybody around him happier. He valued every single raid night we had. He was an uncommonly patient person. Sometimes I look back and I realize, of all the people who got flustered and things like that, Egon was not one to get flustered. Or at least he wasn't one to get flustered at the raid leader, and I always appreciated that. And you know, he was a great supporter of our moose runs. He always made sure that he had a lockout whenever possible, and he was always very encouraging to bring as many people as we could each and every night so that we could get more and more out to the people. It seemed to make him happy that we were doing this, as far as I know. And that makes me happy to know that, you know, he was there when we got our 100th person done. Since that's kind of a big achievement, considering I tried to send a message to every single one of them today, and it cut me off at 50. And I'm not even halfway through the pages of posts we have. I'm on page 11, and it cut me off, beginning of page 11 at that. So, you know, we did an amazing thing for this server, and, you know, for the people on it, and Egon was a huge part of that. And I really want to be able to push as hard as we can to bring his character to Legion, if only so that, you know, if his brother should decide to start playing again, you know, he can go see his brother, and we have somewhere to go to just, you know, visit. It makes me very sad to know that because we're all scattered across the country, there is no real grave for us to visit. I mean, I would love to be able to, but if I could just have an NPC that I could just go sit next to, it'd be enough for me.
It'd be cool
Yeah.
if he was a target dummy too, and we get the DPS alongside him again. Oh my gosh.
Or just something for our server, like a plaque or a stone. Like it doesn't have to be for every server, I guess. That would be cool.
I mean, the thing about Egon is that, you know, he was so good, and he tried so hard to be the best at what he did, that, you know, he had already touched the rest of the world with, you know, his numbers and his rankings and things like that. I know that not everybody sits there and scrolls through those things, but he did have several top 10 ranks, and at one point in Siege of Orgrimmar, he ranked #1 US, and can you imagine how proud we were then? You know, best mage US, and that was him for
I
a little
remember
while.
that. That was cool.
Yeah, so, I mean, I see no harm in asking Blizzard for something to remember him, because he did so much for this server, he did so much for our guild, and his family has asked for contributions to the Make-A-Wish Foundation because he survived childhood cancer. And the overflow from our flower arrangement will be going to Make-A-Wish Foundation, unless, I mean, if you have any sort of issue with your overflow donation going there, you can contact us directly, but I would assume that everybody's okay with that. And so that we can continue giving back even afterwards, and helping somebody, since Blizzard does so much with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. They've brought so many kids through there and made their days. It feels good to be able to be a part of that as well, and all in Egon's name.
I'm gonna miss the drunken singing, especially in Siege of Orgrimmar.
Yeah.
Just
oh my god.
like the after party of raids when we've downed like 3 bosses. Egon's ranked #1, number 10, number something crazy in the world, and he was on the way to Smashed while doing it. He just sings to his friends.
Bro, you singing, that was so funny.
He tried to hand out huge chunks of gold just because he could.
I remember one night he was so drunk that me and Cheesy were in the shrine with him, and I told him I needed 10,000 for a transmog, and he just believed me. He's like, "Oh, yeah, sure, just take it." So I took the 10,000 gold. I was like, "Oh, thanks." But I actually did use it for a transmog. I didn't smuggle him out of his money.
Yeah, and then he felt bad about giving my brother gold, so he had to give me gold too.
He made my slutmog possible.
I loved
I
reading.
tried to give it back to him, but he didn't let me give it back to him.
When Egon got in trouble because we did TOT and he was so drunk that we were like talking and then he just kind of like left. We went on break and he never came back. We're like, what the hell, Egon? What? It was freaking hilarious, though. Like, people weren't pissed. They were just like, oh, that's Egon.
Remember starting raiding with him in like TOT? Like the early-ish fireballs? Like the, no movement, but oh my god, the numbers.
Oh, I remember.
And like halfway through he finally got, move, your DPS is amazing and we love you, but holy shit. Like for a while at the end of a fight it was like, my DPS could have been higher, but I'm following mechanics. You see that, man?
Yeah, I mean, I remember the very early fireballs all the time as the tank because it was like, well, I didn't pull that, but, here we go. He liked to precast a lot. And then
That
I'd
was
be
so
like,
annoying.
it'd go run off and smack him, and I'm like, oh my god, must save. And he also, I just remember on Megara in TOT, if you guys have ever seen that fight, the multiple heads, he would make it his goal to get as much DPS on every single head, even if we didn't have to kill it. I'd look over there and we'd have a head entirely half dead, and that wasn't even the one we were supposed to be killing, because he called it scumbag DPS so that he could rank higher.
That was
Sounds like
it. He'd
Egon.
always, yep, it sure was. He would always put a living bomb on that to get that scumbag DPS.
But it DPS the main target just a little bit more. So it was valid.
Yeah. Now, I remember he always had to get his bat guano when we killed those bats, and then he posted it on the auction house for gold cap.
The random person that came here for the scroll or whatever said sorry for your loss. That Sky from Shadowsong.
You can invite her if you want. I don't know if there's any chat going on. I got my interface turned off because I'm recording this.
No, not at the moment. Well, and now there is.
That's
Yeah.
actually pretty cool, Collie. Collie, that's one of the. I'm really happy with that meter length, honestly. Look at that. Look who's
That
number
was the
one.
last raid. The last raid. I was in with him.
Wow. Yeah, I remember my first raid with Egon. It was so weird. Like I just heard, like his voice is very distinct, and like he was very undergeared the first time we brought him in. Or yeah, this was way back. I think it was even before EO that I was in a guild with him. And when we went to EO, he was always in competition with this guy named Womper, and he was a warrior in Edius Orphans, and this other guy, Frosty, his name was Frosty. He was another mage, and they would always compete with each other like they do now in this guild. Egon's always been the same person, like no matter what guild he's been in, and sometimes he'll bring in like his leadership roles. Like he cares so much about the guild that people really do trust him with strategies, theory crafting. He's been an officer several times. In Edius Orphans he became an officer, and he was with that guild until it broke apart. He was actually mad with the rest of the guild that I left Edius Orphans. They're pretty disappointed that I left.
That was something incredible about Egon. We've seen several, pretty intense raiders come through. We have some intense raiders coming through, and they're the ones we still have, the ones we've had that just kind of got bored. They're all great people, but intense. Somehow Egon was intense about his class and like performance and all that, but it never came through in like relationship with other people in guilds, like friendships and stuff. You know?
Oh no, I know that for a fact. I kind of shared this on the forums too, but like back when I joined Edius Orphans, like before I joined Edius Orphans, I didn't know anything about Ret. Like I was being compared to the other paladins a lot. This other guy used to tell me how shitty I was at DPSing, and like of course Egon, you know, like wanting to help everybody out. He introduced me to like Icy Veins, looking at the forums, finding forums, you know, like Tank It In and all this stuff. He really helped me become a better player. And then like eventually I started talking to him about like my doubts and how people were treating me because I was like, because Edius Orphans, they were all about strong DPS. Like if you couldn't keep up with this guy Womper, and you know he was a warrior, I'm a Retribution Paladin. There's no way a Ret can keep up with a warrior. And just I don't know. I felt really bad, and Egon was always there to like kind of lift me up. So I really appreciate that, what he did for me. I mean, I'm still like that now, thanks to him.
Yeah, I remember back in Siege, like he would always be, you know, on top, but he'd always try and push me to go harder, and you know, like he kind of always inspired me to wanna, you know, push everything that I possibly could out of my DPS meters. And I remember back then, like I was just like, all right, so I started making macros, and then my first macro, like I named it after him, and it's like my DPS cooldown macro, so I'll always have that. Like it's called Egon. Super fitting. It's cool he was never a dick about his DPS either. I mean, he would always joke and like, you know, talk about his meter dick being so big because God it was massive. But you know, he was always like helpful about it too. You know, he'd like if he try to help you get up there with him. It was cool.
I remember him in Horse. Like I was a healer in that raid, and he would stand in so much shit just to get more DPS. I'd have to sit there spamming him sometimes, but he knew I had his back as far as, you know, not letting him die.
He's helping
on
you rank.
Rock, he would just let everything hit him. He's all my cooldowns and stuff.
At some point I got kind of lazy about my alts, and you know, I've let just about all of them, you know, none of them have really completed their ranks except for the really important ones, but you know, starting to bring back the mage. I want to put a couple ranks back up there for Egon. So, you know, trying to take that attitude he had, you know, if there's one place that has a minor upgrade that'll give me an extra 50 DPS, you know, it's worth running it. You're helping your group. It's not even about doing #1 DPS in the raid. It's all just, you know, doing the most DPS you can.
Avoiding those 500k wipes with his super amazing DPS.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't remember him ever really boasting about his DPS. Like his actions really just spoke for themselves. People, you know, like I don't remember him ever like teasing anybody or being a jerk because somebody couldn't keep up with his damage.
He never had to talk about his damage.
The only time he was very frustrated with people is if they didn't want to improve. Like that would get him, you know, like why don't you want to try, you know, at least try getting better. But yeah.
Man, I'm gonna miss his voice too. It's a bit hard to understand at first. You know, I have a lot of trouble understanding voices to begin with. Accents absolutely kill me. Like I spend if I have a
Even
teacher.
words.
Oh, words too. Like, I'm bad with words, but, you know. If I have a teacher that has a different accent, I take the first month understanding what they're saying. That's just me. But, you know, that distinctive voice, I'm never gonna hear it.
It was
Yeah.
because of
Just
Egon's
laugh.
voice that I remember exactly the first time that I met him. Was when we were doing Dragon Soul, like right at the beginning. I heard him in vent. I was like, "What the? Who the hell is that?" Because he was raiding with us when he was in another guild. He was helping us out.
And speaking of his voice, he was such a good spirit about it too. Like I remember back when I first started in horse, Truck would always tell us about this guy named Egon that he'd hold his nose and doing a pop pops thing, and then I remember one time Bacon was doing the voice and he didn't know that Egon was the guy, and then Egon just sort of laughed it off. Where I was like, dude, that's Egon. Like, that was Egon. And Egon, he took it he took it as a joke. He was a good he was a good spirit.
Well,
He's a
he
funny
joked
guy.
Yeah,
about it
Egon.
himself.
Egon was also in my first CM team. Like the first time I did CMs and everything, got gold and all that. Egon was in it. And oh man, nothing changed between Raid and a 5-man. He was always standing in shit. I remember Blood got so frustrated with him. Like he would whisper me and be like, "I can't stand Egon. He's always dying to everything." And I was like, "Well, look at his numbers. Look at how much damage he's doing. Let's just keep going."
The first time that I freaking learned that Egon was talent shit, I was like, no! I fucking hated you in Cataclysm! I hated you! I cursed you out every time I saw you in the auction house! Because I made almost all my money off gems, and he would undercut me by like 50, 100 gold, it didn't matter.
He
I was
was
like, fucking tangent, who is this guy?
he was ranking
I
in the
actually have a
auction
story about
house.
I have
Yeah,
a story
he
about the
was
Paladin thing too. Before I joined the guild, I was trying to make a name for myself on the server as a tank because back then I cared like a lot about what people online thought of me as I was not very experienced at tanking, and I really wanted to start raiding. So I thought, okay, I can just impress people with these world bosses. I learned how to tank Undasta, and for a while, people on the server knew that as long as I was tanking it, the boss wouldn't move. And then along comes this Paladin, and I'm like, who is this guy? And who the fuck does he think he is taking my job? Like, he comes along and he starts tanking all the Undastas, and I was so angry. I was like, that's my job. That dinosaur is my boss. Come on now. And then when I finally did join the Outcasts, I was like, wait a minute. That mage from Raid, that's the Paladin? And I was just so, like, I don't like this guy anymore. We can't be friends.
I remember.
But I let it go eventually.
You can't not be friends with Egon. It's just not
I
possible when you
remember,
talk
like,
to him.
speaking of his auction house, I remember he used to auction house a lot in Hey Beer here, and Krill is a really good friend of mine. He was also really big into the auction house, and he swore this Hey Beer here guy was a bot, and he got all of us to report him and everyone in trade to report him, and he whispered him something to the effect of you're a fuck ass nigga or something, bot ass nigga or something. And then we joined the guild eventually, and I see Egon log into that too, and I was just like, oh my god, that's that guy. And I remember once when I told Egon about it, and he sort of laughed about it, and he always tell me that I need to tell Krill so he remembers to call him a bitch ass nigga.
Yeah, that blew up the forums. I remember that. Like, I think Egon even responded on the forums too. Uh, that was a big ordeal. They couldn't figure it
Yeah, it
out. They
was.
really thought he was a bot.
I don't know, he just took everything he did so seriously. I mean, he took the auction house seriously, he took raiding seriously, he took CM seriously. I'm not sure if he did PvP, but if he did PvP, he probably took that seriously too. And yeah, I mean, he did not slack in anything he did.
he took everything to the extreme. He was a cool guy. He was a true badass. You know, the true rank 1 DPS mage in the world. I remember speaking of that, there was this one time that was just like there, remember Mesmer was intrigued. He was saying shit like, "Oh, rank 1 mage looking for guild," and I was like, "Egon's gonna leave our guild?" He just sort of laughed about that. Egon was just like, "Huh." Fucking Mesmer.
Yeah, our guild tends to have one of those bittersweet reputations with people. Like either it's jealousy or thankfulness or like so many different opinions about the outcast. Just because of how diverse the people are that we have in the guild. We have really unique people.
I think going forward we just need to make sure that in his memory we preserve the same sort of atmosphere, that we continue to treat our guildies the best we can. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, we care about every single person in this guild. Everyone matters to us, the same way that Egon mattered to us.
Can we get a group photo?
I've been recording this whole thing.
Yeah, that'd be really
Okay.
nice. I've actually been trying to take pictures and tweeted it or tweeted it or whatever at the devs, and it's been failing to tweet every time. It's really annoying. So if anyone else
Like,
does that, that'd be.
I think his family would appreciate, you know,
Yeah, definitely.
Like on
this
Facebook or
this
something.
amount of people, you know, doing a service for him, because you know we can't go there in real life.
Maybe have us all jump up on a mushroom or make like lines in front.
Even the picture as they are now is pretty good.
Just us making a circle around these, I think, is pretty nice. Just being like around a circle around the middle.
Yeah, get out of the middle and make a circle.
You can be on a mushroom or something if you like. For teams, push is Control Shift 2. I'm just gonna push.
Yeah, Control Shift 2.
Yeah, if you could take a photo and tweet it to Blizzard of this, you know, might be getting Egon in. Get that NPC.
You know, even if we can't get him an NPC, we could ask him to make a pet, because that's, you know, not as big. But like, what is the development of that?
The development of an NPC is probably the lowest, actually. All they need to do is seriously change one of their NPCs, like the name, and the way it looks. I mean, he could honestly be, like, selling water. It really doesn't matter, just an NPC troll in the challenge mode gear named, Egon the Outcast would be really cool.
And we got this guy in the middle here. That's great. Ruining our
I like
shrine.
the Ruin of Power in the middle a lot, actually.
I got a
might not
really
know
good
what's going
picture,
on.
actually.
And the Prismatic Crystal, if you can, would be nice.
No, I'm talking about this
I'm sorry.
alliance dude floating around here.
Yeah, that's.
Let's all PvP flag.
Oh my god,
Why isn't push working?
I'm big.
There it is.
Giant panda boobs.
I think Egon would appreciate that.
Yeah, I got some lovely pictures, and I'm gonna tweet them at the devs and just sort of say, look, hey, please, please. I started sending letters to all of the people who came for our moose runs. I only got to, like I said, 50 of them before I hit my limit. I'm gonna send more out tomorrow. Just, anybody you think might be able to, get the word out some more, please just tell them either Twitter or the forum. The forum is like the lowest involvement they have to do. All they have to do is post on their, even just posting the hashtag on the forum post is enough, because the devs will know pretty quickly. I mean, just the number of retweets that we already have is enough to probably catch their attention. But, all the more that we get, make it so much more plausible.
And if anybody else has some stories, Econ, go ahead. But I think there's several of us who have Easter dinners and families we need to talk to. Share the glory of Egon with them.
Mm-hmm.
So really, thank you everybody for coming out and sharing your stories. We got a nice video out of this. Shared some good memories. Had some laughs. And that's Outcasts. Just keep that spirit alive.
And the most thing that you could do for Egon is always take what you do to the extreme. Like, go hard at everything that you do in the spirit of Egon.
Yeah, man. Do what you love to the craziest degree. And then rank at it, even if there's nobody counting ranks. And you let people know.
Big dick DPS for Egon.
Oh, speaking of big dick DPS, I think at some point we're going to do a Mythic Clear Blackrock Foundry. Bring in best tunes, best everything. We're going to stomp the shit out of it.
For Egon.
For Egon.
For Egon.
For Egon.
There you go.
Oh, Egon! Rowling.
For Egon.
Holy shit! Celestalon
Furry
liked my
Egon.
tweet.
Did it?
We already eat.
Rank at food.
I bought a baker's dozen of donuts, so I'll eat for me and Egon.
Gotta have at least 3 donuts per minute.
And
My rum and coke. My rum and
otherwise,
coke
I'm not going big dick enough.
Rank number 1 for donuts per minute.
Should have kept all the soda that I bought for meeting my family today for Easter. Then I would have done the same thing with the donuts, just sugar crash for Egon.